Hello everybody and welcome to the Homestead's Facebook page and YouTube channel. I thought that it was time for a garden tour. Our plan is to show everybody our ideas of what permaculture and sustainability are. So I thought I would go through what we've done. We moved in last year, 2016, in the end of April on the 28th. And we've done quite a bit in the last year and a few months. So I figured I'd give you a quick tour, show you everything. Promise to make this one a little quicker than the last video. So these are our apple trees that we planted last year. We bought them from a nursery. There's 4 of them, 2 Red Delicious, a Gala, and a Mac. We have these covers here to keep them protected. We're in a pretty bushy area, 4 acres, and surrounding us there's about 20 acres of bush, and all our neighbors have acreage as well, so there's a lot of natural forest around. But yeah, you can see that this one's got a bit of a lean to the lead, but that's okay, I don't mind. And these ones here, you can see they're doing pretty well. I'll walk over here and show you the one in the back. It's really doing exceptionally well. It's growing a lot faster than the rest and has a lot more height, and the branches all seem to be doing pretty well. I'd put that at about 9.5, 10 feet tall. So I'm gonna go through the stuff that we put in last year first, and then I'll show you what we've done so far this year. So we have 4 pear trees that we put in last year. I think they're about a year younger than the apple trees when we bought them from the same nursery. They're considerably smaller, but the growth is pretty good. I mean, you can see where I trimmed last year, right there, right here, and up. So this guy has been struggling a little bit, not doing as well. It did really well last year, but it's been doing less well this year. And I figured out maybe it's because it's underneath a walnut tree that I was unaware I had until I started finding a few walnuts on the ground this year. So I'm not sure if we're gonna have to move this guy eventually, but walnuts put out some toxins through the roots to fight off other plants, and they really do a good job of defending their territory, so to speak. But you can see these are the other 3. Doing pretty well, getting taller. This one I'd put at about 7 feet. This one here has been chewed up a little bit by the deer. You can kind of see the ends, but again, you know, the new growth is starting to take off for this year, so doing pretty well. I'm happy with how they're doing. This one did the poorest last year, but has really shot up quite a bit. I mean, you can see down in here again where I pruned it back this year, and all this new growth up here, closing in on 2 feet of growth this year on some of the branches. So yep, those are the Uri pears, and then the 2 Bartlett are back over here. Okay, so over here we have our blueberries. I put them underneath some white pine trees. They really like the acidic soil, and the mulch here is a lot of cedar and pine stuff. You can see the 5 green ones in the middle here. They're doing pretty well. Those are planted this year. The lighter green are from last year. They're not doing as well. Last year I planted them way back over here in the corner, underneath all those pine trees. I thought they would do well, but they really didn't get a lot of sun. This is east, so the sun comes up here, and in the summer obviously goes, you know, straight up across the sky and sets in the west. Yeah, they really weren't getting enough light, and I thought I was going to lose a couple of them, but they're bouncing back. They seem to be doing okay. So they're all Highbush blueberries. There's a northern, I kept a couple of the tags just so I could remember, but yeah, okay, so this one's a north blue, and then this guy, what's this guy? Chippewa. So yeah, in our area, Chippewa seems to do really well. Disturb the ant nest there. But yeah, as you can see, they're all doing decent. They're still in quite a bit of shade, but I'm not too worried about them now. I think they'll take off and start producing for us next year. Okay, so here's the main garden. Last year it was 30 by 30 roughly. We extended it this year to 40 by 50 approximately. Just for an idea of size, the trellises right here in the middle where I have all the cucumbers that are going to start climbing, that's 10 by 10. So you can really kind of gauge what size this is. Gonna have a lot of food coming out of here this year, which is really great. All different, just annual varieties. There's a couple perennials in there like scarlet climbing beans, but I'm not really expecting them to hold out and last next year. I did another video on the trench and mulch system that we put in here, and it's been really great. I mean, this stuff's been in the ground since the May 2-4 weekend, Victoria Day holiday here in Canada, and it's mid-July now, and I had to water one time. These two boxes over here and here on the end are the highest point, and kind of sandy. They dried out a little bit, so I watered them by hand once, but I mean, you know, we're coming up on 2 months almost of no watering whatsoever, and it's been an exceptionally wet year for us, but you know, everything's doing really well. I'm happy with the way everything's going here. Okay, over here we have our currants. They do well in shade, but they're still, again, this is east, so they're still getting a decent amount of sun. There's a big crab apple tree over top of them that the birds like to roost and pick out of, so we've left that, and it's quite an old one, so definitely didn't want to chop it down. Our house is 110, so it's pretty neat to see some of the stuff that previous generations have put in the ground here. But these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the back row, we put them in last year. 2 white currants on the end, black in the middle, and red over on this end. So they produced a little bit this year, and I might have planted them a little close together, but they'll form a nice little hedgerow at some point and fill out, and I'm sure next year we'll start to get some pretty good production. These two here I bought this year and put in the ground. Again, maybe a little too close, but not a big deal. These are Primus white currants. They're a new variety. I believe they're a new variety anyways, and they're saying at maturity that these guys will produce up to 20 pounds of currants annually. So considering they were a bare root and just you know, a barren stalk when I put them in the ground, the fact that they're setting fruit on them already is pretty encouraging. Lots of mulch again. We've got tons of ivy that grows in and around the property, and there's just no way that I'm ever going to win against this, so I'm going to just continue to mulch and bury stuff and keep pushing it back where I need to. Just thought I'd show a little section, or a little clip here very quickly of the side of the house. We have tons of grass and stuff growing around, and I thought that I'd leave a section here to kind of turn into whatever it turns into. And as you can see, the ivy's all over the side of the house, but it's really developed into its own little ecosystem. There's frogs and snakes and toads and dragonflies and all kinds of stuff flying in and around here. Lots of food for the bees and wildflowers, so all in all, it's a good little spot to leave for everything, and you know, it makes me feel like we're helping nature a little bit as well, so that's always a positive. Okay, so this section here is going to be more of our perennials. I showed you the trees already, but this is I don't know, about 10 loads of mulch. Started out 6 to 8 inches thick. It's probably only 3 or 4 inches thick now that it's settled, but these we just put in this weekend. 3 gooseberries. Sorry, I know it's a little shaky. Get over here and we have some echinacea, a few different types of herbs. We have a big row of asparagus. You can see some of the older stuff over there in the back to some of the newer stuff here. This is all 2nd and 3rd year stuff, so we're just starting to harvest off of that this year. We put in some wildflowers and let some of the native stuff grow. Some black-eyed Susan and some poppies that are gonna pop up over here. This is a honeyberry. I'm trying to take some cuttings from that and see if we can turn that into a few more bushes. But yeah, eventually the plan is we're going to put a fence in. So that fence is going to run from the corner of the trench and the garden over there all the way out past the last pear tree, and then it's going to wrap all the way around the garden to the other side, and just a split rail fence all the way through with a couple trellises. And then this is going to also be filled up with mulch, and we can put some more perennial bushes and herbs and flowers and stuff like that. Plant lots of vines along the outside. Next year we're planting a few nut trees and some kiwi and a few more fruit trees, but I'll get into some of that later. Okay, so now we're at the side of the house. Here we have, this is mostly just, well, it's perennial flowers, but we have a few annuals in here. You can see the sunflowers underneath the bird feeder. I threw in this year a few grape varieties. This fella here was a bare root stock. Let's see what we got here. So this is Valiant grape, doing pretty well. I'm hoping for it to we're hoping that it'll come up and cover the walls and stuff. This little grape over here, I had in the front, and it was getting too much shade. You can see the variety there. And I thought it was dead. It was in the ground about 2 months, and I decided that I'd just try to transplant it to see if we could save it. And right away the next day there was a leaf on it, and this is about a week in, so that's starting to grow, which is great. Some rhubarb over there in the corner, and maybe not the greatest spot for it either, but it seems to be doing pretty well. Okay, here we have a third variety of grape that we put in, Somerset. It's a seedless, and it actually looks a lot different than the other one. The leaves are thicker and come out almost white when it first pops up, but interesting. And we tried 3 different varieties to see which ones would do best in our zone. It's considered a 5B on the USDA zoning charts, but I don't know, I think that's only down to minus 30 or 35 in the winter. So everything I buy, I try to buy to be hardy to zone 4, which is around minus 40, because I remember as a kid days of minus 45, and we'll bury them and do our best to protect everything, but it doesn't hurt to be extra safe. Okay, so this is the backyard. You can see the pond there. Runs from over here. There's an old cistern, and the property rises 110 feet over about 1350. So there's a couple springs that pop up in and around our yard, and a lot of permaculture places, their primary concern when they're getting started is building trenches and swales. We really don't have to worry about that here. The soil is almost always saturated, and we're really lucky. I mean, if you look at the grass, I'm not too concerned with what type of grass we're growing. For the most part, it's all clover, which is really great, because that is a nitrogen fixer, which all plants are interested in nitrogen, so that saves me from fertilizing things. But anyways, more with what we did this year. We put in some Melda Berry. This is just a little guy, but he's doubled in size for sure, at least since we put it in about, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago. So there's an elderberry there. We've let this kind of naturalize along the side here 4 or 5 feet back, and 2 weeks ago it was just blossoming beautifully. So many different types of wildflowers and just beneficial insects everywhere in its own little ecosystem. So here we have some mulberries. We planted these this year as well. mulched around them again, and you can see that there's berries setting and starting to ripen. So this is another elderberry here, mulberry, elderberry, mulberry, and then this, just run over and show you quickly. Inevitably, when you're planting things, you're gonna break branches off from time to time. Elderberry is one of the easiest things to take a cutting from. I didn't do anything special when it came to putting this in the ground at all. I just took the cutting, put it in a 3.5-inch pot with some compost and garden mix, and just left one leaf set at the top. And this is about 4 to 6 weeks later, and I mean, not really, you know, exploding or anything, but you can see that there's now 2 leaf sets and a third one coming up in the middle. I just put this in the ground 2 days ago, so it's doing well. I'm impressed, and that'll be another bush that'll come up and feed us, and it was free, so that's great. Okay, next up here on the other side of the pond, this is east to west again, so these guys get lots of sun. We put in 4 dwarf cherry trees this year. They're doing pretty well. I think I showed these in a previous video. I was talking about Japanese beetles, but you can see that they're starting to shoot up and grow, so it's good. We are coming out and picking the beetles off daily still, and their numbers have definitely increased since I've made that last video. We're probably getting rid of 30 to 40 a day off of all the different varieties of plants we have around the yard. These we put in this year as well. Cranberries, pretty cool. Just you can see the fruit starting to set on them in little clusters, so we're pretty excited. Hopefully we have some cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving. But yeah, there's 3 of those. And I took some cuttings from those with the little branches we broke off, so I'll show you those at the end. Okay, so on our Facebook page we posted the process of clearing this area out in the early spring, and we gathered all the raspberry bushes from around the property, probably about 300 to 350 canes, and we planted them all around horseshoe patterns around the mouth of this creek and the little dirt bridge that that goes over the creek. But you can see the boys there having a heyday. They're out here every day stealing all our berries, and the robins are already into the bushes too. We didn't expect them to set any fruit this year, having transplanted them, and usually berries will grow off of the new growth. I never got around to trellising them, but they seem to be doing fine. Their color's a little off maybe, but that's, I assume, just due to the transplanting of them. But you can see they go back quite a bit, and around here, and these guys love cleaning them out on a daily basis. Okay, the last set of trees that we put in this year are plum trees. So you can see this fella here is a superior plum. This one here is a toka. There's one over here that's really not doing well. The deer seem to be really attracted to it, and for some reason they're not eating the branches so much as they're just stripping the leaves off. But this is a Oneida plum. And this one beside the beehive is black ice. So 2 of them are really good pollinators, and 2 of them are really heavy producers. All 4 varieties are American hybrid. They're supposed to be disease resistant and all good to zone 4. And then you can see our bees back here, which I've done extensive videos on. I shot one today going through the whole box. Probably gonna get stung. They're probably still not very happy with me, as I was in there quite extensively today. And yeah, but they're a great addition. Really happy with them. They're really producing a lot more honey than I anticipated. But I'm gonna pause this and get out of here before I get stung. I just thought I'd show this really quickly. This is really one of my favorite spots in the yard. This bridge that the previous owner and dam that he built creates this little pond. It's a shallow pond, and our area is really silty, so the silt has really come right up close to the surface, and you can see over in the corner here it's starting to dry out a little bit, and there's some different grasses and plants and stuff getting a foothold, but that's not really a big concern. I mean, it's nice. It looks nice, it sounds nice, it gives all the birds and bees and bugs water source that's readily available, so they pick at the fruit less and the berries less, and you know, they're happy, I'm happy. But I just really am a huge nature person, and this view to me is its own little piece of heaven. I mean, there's just all these different varieties. I mean, these are obviously planted flowers, but there's just so many different varieties of flowers that maybe not natural and native species, but they have all come in through here and settled in, and it's just a clean, beautiful spot that I can sit down at any time and relax and listen to the birds and the sounds of nature, water flowing. And in the evening it's really great. These two big pine trees, the sun sets kind of right between them, and some golden light just kind of pours through into this whole area, and it's my little piece of paradise, little piece of heaven here. Okay, lastly, this is the little greenhouse that we bought this year. Really kind of helps us get a head start on stuff, and while it's not really being overly used right now, it is still useful. So these are cranberry cuttings. They again were very easy. I've never used any root stimulators, but you can see the secondary bunch of leaves starting to push through there now. I left one leaf and I cut that one in half. You don't want them to be expelling more moisture than they're able to absorb, and when you put the sticks into the ground, you want to use woody sticks, you know, 2 to 5 or 6 inches, and they need to be able to absorb as much as they're losing with the heat and photosynthesis. But you know, these when there's no roots, it's really difficult for them to keep up with that. So you keep the soil very moist and you keep them in the shade. So this little fella here is a pear, a Bartlett, and yeah, there you can see the second leaf coming out. These are just some flowers that we keep inside the house that I thought I'd practice with, and they're doing fine. Here's another pear. This is about 3 or 4 weeks. A little concerned with this one as there's no secondary leaf coming out, but it's all still green, so we'll see what happens. And this here again is another cranberry. It's really difficult to see, but if you come in really close here, that's not going to work for me. You can see that there's some secondary growth just getting started, so those should be fine. Anyways, that's the extended tour. I really didn't think it was gonna be 25 minutes almost, but that's kind of what I do every day with these fellas and my daughter. We walk around and pick some bugs and make sure that everything's doing well. And these guys always having fun outside. It's good for them, it's good for us, and we're slowly but surely working towards permaculture and sustainability in this abundant area that we live in off of Georgian Bay. Really lucky to have this place and to be here. So you know, I encourage everybody to get out there, put some things in the ground that are gonna survive winter and feed your family and your kids and keep them healthy and happy. And you know, it's always good to have some fresh food from your own property on the table. It's only going to benefit you health-wise. You know, there's your local bacteria that gets you sick is in the soil, and you're going to gain some immunity from eating things that grow from your soil. So yeah, I encourage all of you to get out there and do your thing and grow some food, get some abundance into your life, and save yourself some money in the long run. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, just leave them below and I'll do my best to answer any questions you have. And if you like what you're seeing, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're into it. So yeah, thanks again everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Take care.